Line. Here we go. Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. My name's Mike Amos. His name is Bill Rice Jr. And on the telephone is Mike Amos from some parts of Northwest Florida. Is that right, Grayson Beach?
Yeah, we've looks like we're going to survive another hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. Lord, looks like it's going to be a pretty big one heading towards Lake Charles, Louisiana. Could be a Category 3, it could be a Category 4. So definitely hope everybody's prepared. And of course down here in Panama City Beach and Mexico Beach with Michael a couple of years ago, that was one of the worst of all time.
Yeah. So right now you've dodged a bullet. Both the hurricanes going into Louisiana, or where are they going?
Yeah, it looks like it. Of course, Lake Charles is where McNeese State is, where Troy used to have some great games back in the day. It actually looks like it's going to go right next to Lake Charles, and then Houston kind of in play a little bit as well. So they're not 100% sure yet.
So we're very fortunate, very fortunate.
Just coming off Cuba right now. So big day in Troy, Alabama for elections. You got Jason Reeves, who's done a great job as mayor, is running today to remain mayor of Troy, Alabama. And then, of course, you got some city council races, and then huge mayor race in Brundage as well today. So hopefully everybody will get out and vote.
No question about it. And you're right. If you want to do your civic duty or your duty as a citizen of Pike County or a citizen of Troy, Alabama, or a citizen of the United States of America, you go out and do what our forefathers fought and bled for, and that was freedom. And again, today, looking at the rundown, and we'll run down that in a minute.
I just want to say that local government is the government closest to home, so you can influence that. You can pick up the phone and call your city council member, and they'll listen to you. You can call the mayor, and he'll listen to you, or bump into him at the post office, and he'll listen to you. Not many people vote, so a few votes can swing an entire election. In other words, I've always thought that local elections are actually more important than state and national elections.
Exactly right. Of course.
Well, breaking news in Tuscaloosa. I mean, what should we think of this, Bill Rice? University of Alabama reports more than 500 confirmed COVID-19 cases. Is that an alarming number with 32,000 students?
You know, it sounds scary, but then like you just added that second part, 32,000 students, it's less than 1% have tested positive, so that's not scary. I wonder, they never show in these stories how many are asymptomatic or not sick, which I bet almost all of them are asymptomatic. But, you know, it shows how very, very contagious this virus is, that you can get it almost at a drop of a hat.
All right, give us the stats here now. Out of how many people tested?
Also is making national headlines for the University of Alabama, so I'm sure everybody sees these headlines and starts freaking out.
Well, I see how the mayor and the police chief and the president and the deans are just, I mean, they're almost imposing martial law to get these students to stay in their dorm room and never come. I don't know why a student would go to college when they're told you got to stay in your room. Your classes, most of these students are taking their classes online from a computer, so they could take their classes in Troy just as easily as Tuscaloosa. They can't go to bars. They've locked down. They have closed the bars. They can't eat at the fraternity house. They can't sit in the main hall at the fraternity house and chew the fat with their buddies. They can't play pickup basketball games in the backyard. So, you know, why are they there? They can't really go to football games, you know, or only a few select in some lottery system. So it's a mystery to me that why they're even went to the trouble and paid the expense to go to a college and sit in a room for 4 months.
Well, I mean, especially for the underclassmen. I mean, the people that are actually 21 and are you know, have good fake IDs are the ones that could actually go to the bars and, you know, go and actually get out
This is it's a Tuesday, August the 25th, and let me ask you this: how many people were tested, and how many people did they find to be positive?
It says 29,000 were tested.
29,000 students were tested, and how many ended up being positive?
534.
Boy, that is, what?
It's 1.04%.
Now, have they quarantined those folks? Have they taken those folks and quarantined them, or what have they done with them?
I heard they sent them back home.
Sent them back home. So if you're one of the people that they sent back home, give us a ring this morning and let's see.
Yeah, that's what.
Why?
Well, I guess they'll send you back home if you have the opportunity to go back home. I guess some situations they have to have a university that big, some place to keep the kids that are sick away from the other kids. So there has to be some kind of dorm or some kind of facility. Probably Old Bryce Hospital out there, I would think. They own Old Bryce Hospital, and that'd be a good, pleasant place to put people.
And they would quarantine 500 or so students. Is that right?
I mean, it would either be that or you'd send them home, I would think, if they're local kids.
Well, that is scary, scary.
We were out to dinner with some friends the other night down here, and their son went to the University of Alabama, and he had the virus. Of course, he was asymptomatic, just like we talk about all the time. But, I think it's just very, very rapid with young people right now that a lot of people do have it.
Yeah.
If you test, you're going to get those big numbers. If all these high schools that are playing football right now, they can't afford the test. I don't know where all these 29,000 students, who's paying for those tests.
Well, a lot of these, as Alabama already started school.
Tested everybody before they started school back. Troy tested everybody before they started school back.
But who pays it? Do the families pay for it, or their insurance, or the?
I don't know if the universities pay or how it works.
I would think the students, they make them pay themselves. Make that a mandate, because these tests are, as we're learning from the athletics, are expensive. 29,000 tests at say $100 a pop. That's $290,000.
Exactly.
$2.9 million.
It's one of those things. If you look nationally, which I'll look at the world, coronavirus meter every day, and it was like 32,000 on Sunday. It was only 39 yesterday, which is really good for a Monday. 39,000 new cases, but deaths were down to like 400 again yesterday. It's starting to come down. This time next week we could be in the 20,000s, and then by the time the SEC comes around, you could be under 10,000. You never know.
Well, is this figure, this 500 figure, is that enough to be alarmed?
Depends on how you look at it.
Well, when you look at it, it looks scary, but then you're thinking you got to realize it's 30,000 students.
Yeah, you're right.
500 at Troy for 8,000 students would be a lot scarier.
Yeah,
it would be. It would be.
So it's all relative.
And I don't know what the figure is for Troy.
I would say that 90% of these students are asymptomatic. So that means that 10% have symptoms or are sick. Some of them are probably like the flu, pretty sick, and some of them are mildly sick, might have 2 symptoms. But say 10% of those are actually sick. That's 50 students that are sick out of 32,000 students. I just wrote a letter to the AL.com the other day and noted that they had a bad flu outbreak at the University of Alabama 2 winters ago, the 2017-18 flu season. In 30 days between December and January, they had 863 students who went to the infirmary with flu symptoms. So that all 863 of those students were sick, or else they wouldn't have gone to the infirmary, right? They felt sick, like when you have the flu. Well, Alabama just probably has 56 students.
Yeah.
2 years ago, they had 863 that were really sick. So there was no panic 2 years ago when you had 20 times more sick students.
The headlines this is in the sports page. It says bars to close, football still in business. The movement is experimental, but they're trying their best to stop the spread of COVID-19. by closing down the bars in Tuscaloosa. What are they going?
Bars. Let's be honest. To be a bar owner right now in the state of Alabama, you're already taking a hit. I mean, you're closed for several months. Now they're making you close down at night. Last call is at 11 o'clock. You got to be out of the establishment by 11:30. I mean, you're talking about places that used to stay open until 2. Sometimes 2:30. In Birmingham, they still would let you stay up until 6 in the morning. So definitely tough on those folks right now. But I mean, I understand. They kind of in a situation where they got to do it right now. But hopefully, come to New Year, we'll have a vaccine, and maybe things will get back to normal. Of course, a lot of people I know are not going to take the vaccine. They don't. They don't think they have to. So.
Well,
who knows?
We talk about the long-term effect. The one thing I'm really worried about with COVID is we don't know the long-term effects. The people that have had it, are there effects a year or two on your lungs or heart? That's a serious, legitimate concern. And then, so people are right to bring up that. It's an unknown. But then I hear people talk about the vaccine. They're rushing this vaccine so much, nobody knows what the long-term effects of that vaccine are, or if they get it wrong. But you don't hear anybody saying, everybody I hear says, as soon as they got that vaccine, I'm in line, I'm getting it. So there's no concern about long-term effects. I don't get the contradiction.
Well, there's a lot.
AP poll came out yesterday, and Ohio State's still ranked number 2, even though they're not playing this fall. Isn't that hard to believe?
Yeah, that really is. That really is, and
I kind of like it because that's going to make those Ohio State fans really more upset and put pressure on their powers that be that said, "Why did you cancel this season so soon?
Yeah,
when we had this great team." And they got a point.
No question about it. Of course,
I'm surprised Kirby Smart doesn't catch more flack for the Justin Fields, Jake Fromm decision. I mean, you're talking about a guy that is probably going to be the second pick in the NFL draft, and Justin Fields and Fromm, I think, barely went to the 5th round last year.
Yeah. Of course, we got a lot to talk about. It is Election Day, and let's take a look at the election real quick here. In Troy, the big election, of course, where everybody will go to the polls to vote today for the mayor of the city of Troy. Tyrone Moultrie is one of the people involved, along with Jason Reeves, the incumbent. Do we know how many terms he's? I know he's had 8 years. That's 4 terms, 2 terms.
He was on the city council
for many years.
I think before that, so he served for over 30 years.
So yeah, exactly. And of course, Tyrone Moultrie is in the running for it, and of course,
actually not 30 years, but probably 26 years. Jason's probably. What is he, probably 48? I think he was the youngest city councilman in the state of Alabama when he became a city councilman. I think he became a city councilman when he was 22, 23.
Exactly, and of course that race is today, and you find out where your voting box is. And also we've got 2 races also very important. Is in District 1, you've got the incumbent Robert Jones. And the person running against him is Sharon McSwain Holland. That's in District 1. And then in District 4, this is the city council held by Stephanie Baker, the incumbent in District 4. And the person running against her is Caleb Dawson. So that is today right here in Troy, Alabama. The polls open at 7 o'clock this morning, and of course we'll run, I think, till 7 o'clock tonight. Is that right?
I don't think they stay up until 7.
I believe it's 7 to 7.
7 to 7, yeah,
All
I think so. Now, if we're wrong, somebody call in this morning. Our telephone number is 670-0052. And in Brundage, what a race we've got in Brundage for mayor. Isabel Franny Boyd, the incumbent, going up against longtime Brundage Mayor Jimmy Ramage, Anthony T. Foster, Mike McNally, and Rodney Wilson. They're running for
5 people are running.
If all the Fosters come out of the boat, that could be a close race.
That's right. A lot of Fosters down there, no question about it. And of course, Mary Isabel Franny Boyd is the incumbent again. And again, very interesting here though is a guy that served his community for how many years? 40 years. Jimmy Ramage has served the Brundage plus 40 plus years. Has served the city of Brundage as mayor or on the council, and of course he's going up against again Anthony T. Foster, Mike McNally, Rodney Wilson going up, and Jimmy Ramage going up against Isabel Boyd. In District 1 of the Brundage City Council, you have Lynette Andrews, Betty Baxter, Gerald Holland, and Johnny Turbin in District 1 for the Brundage City Council. In District 2, you got Charlie Bell, Jessica Collier, Stacey Flournoy, Alexandria M. Griffin, and Letitia Hall. In District 3, you got Henry Hancock, Everett, Angie Kelly, and Margaret Ross in District 3. I want to say Margaret Ross is the incumbent here. In District 4, you got Byron Gaynor and Paula Wilson Hall in District 4. Again, Byron Gaynor going up against Paula Wilson Hall in District 4. In District 5, you have Christopher Foster James. Excuse me, let me repeat that. Christopher Foster in District 5 going up against James Sid Jones and Marilyn Munchie Rogers in District 5. So those, and we'll go over that again in a few moments. The election.
There's no reason to go over it anymore. The elections have already started, man.
I know. Well, that's right.
Today and 3 times yesterday, you're good.
Yeah. Well, we want to recognize them, and of course we want to also
let's hear from your buddy Nick Sabins discussing putting on the pads for the first time yesterday at Alabama. Do you want to hear that?
Well, let me before we do, let me just say for Brundage, the election on August 25th, and there will be a runoff election on October the 6th if needed.
Yeah, don't you think there'll be one in that mayor's race for 5 people?
I would think so, definitely so. But it's going to be a very interesting race, both in Troy and in Brundage. And I wish all of you good luck. And I want everybody that can go to the polls to go to the polls and vote for their candidate today. And so we'll be talking about that more. Tell us about Nick Saban.
Well, Alabama went in pads yesterday. I hadn't heard this press conference yet, so we'll listen to this. Check it out real quick.
Of course,
certainly like to keep all those folks be good supporters for us in the future.
Of course,
we just kind of put pads on for the first time today. I think the acclimation period is certainly a positive, for players when it comes to, you have 2 days in just a helmet, 2 days in shoulder pads, and then today was the first day in pads. I thought our players responded and reacted to it pretty well. Obviously, the most important thing at this time of the year is how many guys can we develop to play winning football on this football team. And I think probably more than ever, the depth of your team, the experience of your team is critical because, we may have more issues from a personnel standpoint just by the nature of where we are than maybe what we've had in the past, even though, all of our efforts are to keep our players safe. But, this all comes down to everybody's personal discipline to sort of manage their bubble. We don't have a lot of issues when the players are here. They all wear masks. We practice social distancing. They stay separated in meetings. We keep them arm's length apart on the field as much as possible. It's okay when you leave here. What kind of decision do you make in your own personal bubble? Because that probably is the biggest challenge for us, and that comes to everybody's personal discipline to make the kind of choices and decisions that they won't have issues, because I think this is
general, speak to the team on Monday, and he said what I'm saying loud and clear, to the players. You manage this for the safety of your family. You manage the safety of yourself in terms of how you practice all these things. So that's an opponent that we have to deal with that I think is an important one for player safety. And that's something that we've certainly, I think, done a really good job of. I think our medical staff, Jeff Allen and his staff of folks, our doctors have done a really good job. I think the SEC Medical Task Force has done a really good job, in all those areas. So we've had a lot of heavy installations so far on the field. This is very challenging to young players. But I think that the 10-day, or we had 10 days, we used 10 days where we could have sort of a mini camp type of, atmosphere, where we had 6 hours a week on the field, 6 hours in meetings. I think those walkthroughs were very beneficial in helping the young players, understand. I think all the Zoom calls that we had, helped them gain an understanding. So they're picking it up on the field a little quicker and with a little better understanding than maybe what they normally would, because we've had so many so-called chalk talks, walkthroughs, those types of things that I think have really enhanced their development. I think one of the things that's really important on every team is, I talked to our team about this the other day, is what kind of humility do you have as a person and as a competitor? Because people who have humility are always working to get better. People who don't have humility are always looking for ways to think that I'm entitled to not have to do what everybody else does. And I think when you have that, it's hard to develop team chemistry, and I think it's hard to have your best players be the best competitors on your team. And we've obviously had two opportunities, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, the last 2 years that our players have had the opportunity to talk to, that they were very loud and clear on the fact that they were never satisfied. They had lots of humility. They always respected their opponent, and they were working hard to get better every day. And I think that's really, really important. But, when you don't have humility, it can cause a little complacency, which creates a blatant disregard for not doing what's right, because you feel like you're entitled to something, and that's not good for team chemistry.
Okay, this is that's quite a bit of Saban.
Nick Saban's press conference yesterday.
Yeah, and of course, very well done. And of course, if we can pick up Auburn's press conference, we'll run it this morning.
There's no need to listen to Auburn press conferences on this show. It's Alabama only.
Are you serious? What you talking about, man? Hey, it's Alabama, Auburn, Troy, or Troy, Auburn, Alabama, or Troy, Alabama, Auburn. It's we're in it for everybody.
I watched a 3-minute clip of him yesterday on the internet talking about why football is important to so many people in our world, and he gave a great answer. Yeah. I mean, why are we've been talking about it nonstop for months, haven't we?
Yeah, no question about it. Anybody posting or being found to be positive in your test, go home and stay home until you're not positive anymore. That's where I look at it.
The best thing about it is once you're positive, you're safe. I mean, you're probably got immunity for a couple of months. So did you say that Oklahoma's first opponent is supposed to be Missouri State or somebody like that? And they had 52% of their people that were tested came back positive.
Oh, man.
So that means that game is probably off because it was scheduled for...
But then in the NFL the other day, they had several people that they thought were positive
and they were,
with the virus, and they came back as all false positive.
Yeah, I wonder about those too.
I mean, you got all kinds of issues like that as well.
But my point was, I think you've made it, Michael, early on, that really the best thing that could have happened for these sports teams is to have 100% of their team test positive 2 months ago. Then you wouldn't have anybody. They would all have immunity, and everybody's recovering. So I mean, there really wouldn't be a health risk. So in other words, get them over with before the season starts.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
It's just like the chicken pox back in the day. You just want them to go ahead and get it over with.
But all right, let me ask you this. Let's just say the 500 or so that were found to be positive. They should go home and quarantine for at least 10 days. All right, now who's to tell them when to come back and whatever? I mean, are they given the right information?
Yeah, they've got a protocol that says you've got to test negative 2 times in a row within a 48-hour period. So, and then you've got to be gone for at least 10 days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same way they're doing it with sports teams. But, yeah, they won't let them back until they...
If it's the starting quarterback of Alabama or starting quarterback at Auburn, hey, they need to go through the same regiments or get well.
I hope it. Well, I see. We say get well. They ain't even sick, but in case they are sick, we'll get well.
I don't think anybody should be shocked, but the majority of these Alabama football players are not going to class. They're doing online class.
Yeah.
Same thing at Auburn, same thing at Troy if they possibly can do it. I mean, I'm sure they're trying to do all they can to limit their exposure to the other students.
Well, did y'all watch Feinbaum yesterday? They had a photo editor from the Crimson White, that's the University of Alabama school paper, was his guest. And she had some interesting comments. She's probably the one that took those pictures of students in front of Gillettes that caused such an uproar. But she said that she's not going to class. She said nobody's going to class. There's a few classes that are in huge lecture halls where there's enough room to social distance that they let people go to class, but the impression I got is that 90% of the students that are in Tuscaloosa on the campus are not going to class in all those buildings on that campus. It's bizarre.
I mean, you're going to hear stories come out years later about all these underground, hidden, places students were going to party and stuff, probably.
Speakeasy.
It's just going to be nuts to hear these stories on down the road.
But what's going to kill all of this is irresponsibility. And these kids they don't think that they think they're immune to all of this, and it's turning out that they're not immune to it. If we get more big numbers like this, football could really be in danger.
Well,
something amazing happened yesterday, Dad. I don't know if you're aware of it. My favorite golfer of all time, Phil Mickelson, decided to play in a senior tour event in the Ozarks of Missouri that took place on a Monday yesterday. So Mickelson has never played on the senior tour. All he does is go and shoot 10 under 61 yesterday.
Did he really? Whoa!
That's like
61, and a guy from Great Britain named McKenzie had already shot 9 under, but Mickelson leads his first senior tour event. He'll play again this afternoon, and of course they only played 3 rounds, but he's doing this getting ready for the U.S. Open. He's going to play in the Safeway Open before that on the PJ Tour, but Mickelson is going to try to win his first senior tournament here, which will be over with on Wednesday.
Let me ask you this, and we're jumping real quick here, but I noticed that the Braves play the Yankees today at 6:10 in
Those have been
Atlanta.
great games.
And but can anybody go see it? Will they allow anybody to watch the game?
I watched the one last night. They've got about 8 people in the stands. They must be the field crew and photographers. You do see a few people in the seats.
But that is today and tomorrow.
You got Garrett Cole tonight, who's won several Cy Youngs, and he's going against the Braves tonight. I mean, this would have been a hard sellout for sure in Atlanta tonight.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Of course, it will be televised on TV, I would think.
I'll watch that one.
Yeah, it'll be on TV.
And of course, I was looking at the rest of the Braves schedule, and man, they don't really have that many more opening dates. It's more on the road.
Have y'all been watching the political conventions?
Yeah, let's find out what went on in getting day one.
My wife won't let me watch anything when it comes to stuff like that. I have to watch just trash TV.
Oh, really?
Sounds like mine. My wife says, I'm tired of hearing about COVID. I have all these theories and I want to vent, and she said, I don't want to hear any more about it.
Something that surprised me.
I watched the exciting Maine cabin builders. These guys up in Maine that redo all these beautiful cabins on all the lakes up there. I watched that.
Right, what did happen yesterday?
I don't watch them either. I don't care.
Well, where are we going to get the information? Which way we're
I read the headlines, so...
I saw Herschel Walker was speaking on behalf of Trump last night. Apparently, he's a big Trump supporter.
And then the girl from South Carolina that was the UN ambassador, Haley.
Yeah, she's impressive.
She spoke.
want to mention, of course, do your civic duty and go to vote today, wherever you're voting.
According to John Reeves, my buddy just texted me and said Jason's been mayor for 8 years.
Hey, yeah, that's what I was saying. 8 straight years, and has done a very good job. Of course, want to mention Stephanie Baker this morning, and she's running for re-election in district. Let's see, what district is that? That is District 4 against Caleb Dawson, and then of course in District 1, the Troy City elections. Your buddy Robert Jones, Mike, going up against Sharon McSwain Holland, and of course, if you don't know who Robert Jones is, how about Crow's Chicken for the last how many years, Mike?
30.
I'd say at least 35 to 40, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, known throughout, no question about it. And then, of course,
I was always a huge Robert fan because I'd always go in and talk to him, and we'd always have good conversations. And I mean, he would give me a couple extra nuggets. I'd probably pay for that extra sauce. But,
yeah, you're right.
When he made my nuggets, he fed me.
Yeah, that was the key to Crow's Chicken. It was who was waiting your menu. some of them would give you plenty of chicken, and some of them wouldn't.
Blake Crow liked the sauce, and probably listened to us this morning from Birmingham. But his big thing is he liked to dip his nuggets in the actual mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yeah, I love that mashed potatoes and gravy too.
I dip my French fries in the sauce.
And the
oh yeah, everybody does that. Yeah. But I mean, I got pretty big towards later in life. Those peppers they'd have, I'd squeeze some peppers on my nuggets.
I tell you something else they do very well too is catfish. My wife loves catfish, and people I bought a big catfish plate the other day.
People that love catfish really love it. I don't like it. It's got too much of a seafood. I don't know.
Again,
but the people that like it, man, they love it.
I tell you what I like better than anything is corn on the cob. I love corn on the cob, and I pick up at Piggly Wiggly some big fine corn.
And tell us how you cook it. You always tell us what.
Yeah, and what I do, and it's so simple. You put it in the microwave, one ear at a time. Let it go for 3 hours.
No.
3 minutes and 30 seconds. Let it go 3 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, and then take it out and put it over on the counter, and let it cool just a little bit, and then you go ahead and it comes off. The shucks come off real easy.
And you got to put your butter on it right then.
And then after you do that, put the butter and the
salt.
Well, you can put a little salt, but mostly pepper. What I do, I use the butter and the pepper. And you again 1 ear of corn plus 3 minutes, 3 seconds. 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and you've got a great corn on the cob. But you have to do them one cob at a time.
I love
ESPN will be coming to do a high school football game in the state. They'll be live on ESPN on Friday night at 6 p.m. Spanish Fort will host St. Paul's.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be live on ESPN, so what great exposure for those two.
Hey, why are they doing that? Must be some big prospects in that game. Usually there are when they.
Well, those are two of the best programs in Alabama.
Spanish Fort got beat by Fairhope last week, so they're already 0-1.
Yeah. And of course,
St. Paul usually has some good prospects.
We've got a cousin that's on the staff there at the Spanish Fort and does a great job.
So of course, Johnny Williams' game was Central Arkansas and Let's Go P. Austin P. Dad's favorite school will take place in Montgomery on Saturday.
In fact, we're going to talk to Johnny Williams in just a few moments, hopefully on our line in just a few moments. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more of Today in L.A.
First football game, all right. College.
Yeah.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Here at Bill Jackson Chevrolet in Troy, we've been doing business the right way for 31 years. But don't take our word for it. We feel our customers express it the best.
Been honest in everything we've discussed with them.
When they say Jackson Satisfaction, they really mean it.
The Jackson Satisfaction is real.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
A personal touch. A high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Back to our show, brought to you by our good friends at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass in Troy, like no other sale anywhere in the country, ladies and gentlemen. They're dealing, believe you me, at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep. Remember, nobody, I'm talking about nobody beats a Premier deal, and I mean nobody. So go by there today and see the great selection of Nissan. Of Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep, and Ram trucks right here in Troy. Of course, we got a AP poll out, and how in the world can they do this? I don't know, and put Ohio State in it when they don't even have a schedule. But right now, the AP top 5 is Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, and Oklahoma. And how in the world can they do it with Ohio State in there?
I guess they did it before Big Ten made that decision.
Exactly.
You're going to have a poll that's going to end up with about 9 SEC teams in the top 25, would be my guess.
Exactly right. Of course, we got a full slate of high school football today.
You want me to do the ticker for Troy's start against La Monroe? We got 10 days, 16 hours, 21 minutes, and now 43 seconds.
That is wonderful, Mike. Let me ask this: was the information we got out of Lieutenant Monroe's camp last week was they had nine players to test positive? What happens after this, Mike? And do they miss practice? How does that work?
I mean, I don't know how La Monroe's athletic department's handling the situation, but I would think those guys would be quarantined, and you would practice the guys that are, not affected by the virus right now. I would guess you would still continue practicing. Yeah. They said they were going to try to start practicing yesterday. I'll have to look up some information and see if they did. We did mention that they Troy and La Monroe both have open dates on the 12th. So I guess if that game was to be moved, they could play it on the 12th instead of the 5th. Hopefully it'll be on the 5th though, because I think the sooner you start playing, the more like your season is going to, have a chance to be completed.
Yeah. Well, then we'll get a lot more national exposure too. If you just won a few games, I like that.
course,
big news came out. Troy mentioned also, Gunnar Watson is going to be your starting quarterback. It looks like the start of the season, so that's big news.
Makes plenty of sense.
Troy also has a couple of offensive line spots they had to fill. They're loaded at wide receiver. This is the best receiving class I've ever seen at Troy.
Wow.
Well, and then they've got one of their top receivers been injured the last 2 weeks, Mike. A young man out of South Florida that was having a great spring and a great preseason. And
wide receiver, you got Reggie Todd from Blunt. He was the Mississippi State transfer. He had a great year last year, receiving and kickoffs. And then, of course, the guy that everybody was just blown away with was the kid out of the Texas Junior College that was so good last year, Geiger.
Yeah.
What do you have? 80 catches last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Top receiver coming back in the conference.
Trey Eifert coming back, one of the fastest guys on the team. And that kid out of Georgia that's been really good.
Where's number 13?
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kalen Geiger is out of Fort Worth, Texas. He played at Navarro College as well, so that might have been the relationship with Parker McNeil.
Yeah, exactly.
They brought in the junior college quarterback.
Yeah. And, let me ask you this, Mike. Now, this kid, this junior college quarterback, was considered the top junior college quarterback coming out this year, and Troy got him. How does Troy get a quarterback like this when everybody needs a good quarterback?
Yeah, it was the National Junior College Athletic Association Offensive Player of the Year, two-time first-team All-American at Navarro College after throwing for 5,635 yards and 56 touchdowns in 21 career games for the Bulldogs.
Golly, how does that guy not be the number one quarterback?
What is he? Is he the second-string quarterback now?
Yeah, he's a second-string quarterback.
We don't even know if he's second-string.
Yeah, I know it.
No knowledge if he beat out Free from Vanderbilt, or the Bradley kid that went to Vanderbilt.
That's right. We're talking about four very good quarterbacks led by Watson, the guy that has been here. I want to say he's been here for 2 years. Is that right? Was he he was redshirted, I know.
Redshirt sophomore.
So he's got 3 more years of eligibility, and then, of course, the young man who everybody has been talking about, the junior college quarterback, and then, of course, Free came in from Brantley and had a super preseason. I watched him a lot, and he really threw the ball well, and he's out there going to play a lot, I would think. And then, of course, the young freshman that everybody's talking about is the young man out of South Georgia, Mike. That I know he won 2 state championships as a quarterback. Do you know much more about him?
Yeah, Kyle Soule.
Yeah, what's that? How do you spell that last name? With a T?
Toole. Yeah, he's from Leesburg, Georgia. Of course, he led Leesburg to a state championship.
Now, Leesburg is located right outside of what town? It was in South Georgia, Leesburg High School.
Is it near Macon or Albany?
I want to say it's near Albany. I want to say it's near Albany, and really.
High school Toole led Lee County High School to back-to-back state titles as a sophomore and junior. Trojans posted a combined 29-2 record in those 2 seasons. Posted a 40-4 record as a starting quarterback for the Trojans.
40-4.
For his career, he completed 63.7% of his passes. He threw for 5,749 yards, 63 touchdowns, with just 4 interceptions in his career.
Isn't
wow,
that amazing? And won 2 state championships, and in all won what, 40-some games, 40 games?
I don't know how you manage all that talent. That's a tough. That's a good problem to have.
40-4.
40-4.
If you're Chip Lindsey, do you go with the guys that are have the most potential as far as development over the years? And I kind of think that's where he's leaning with Gunnar Watson. He'll have 3 years to play. Unfortunately, Free is a junior, and then McNeil, the junior college guy, is, of course, a junior. So I guess he's just going with these younger guys. If it was close, I guess he decided to go with the younger guys. They also had a guy named Alex Moore, who played a great program at Mobile Christian under Ronnie Cottrell, transferred in from West Alabama. So he was also a new quarterback they brought in.
I wonder would he be eligible? I wouldn't think he'd be eligible. He's the one that comes in out of a 1AA
he came
school.
from Division II. I would think he went up to 1-8, wouldn't have to sit out. But I don't know. I mean, he's probably 4th or 5th string. But I mean, I'm just saying that's another quarterback they had on the roster.
Yeah. You know, one thing that we don't have here, though, is I doubt if we've got a guy that runs a 40 under 4.8. Out of these 4 quarterbacks, which I could be wrong. I'm just guessing that there's not many of them. They run 4.7. They're real fast. We're talking about very little speed at quarterback.
No dual threat quarterbacks.
Yeah, no dual threat.
Bill was on the show, but they brought in a Baumhauer to play at Troy.
Big Bob Baumhauer was born.
Our son's walk on from Fair Hope High School, 6 foot, 212-pound linebacker at Troy now.
There was a Baumhauer that was walked on at Alabama. That's not him, is it?
Could be.
Yeah, he now is at Troy.
Well, I will tell you, he was really, really good in high school, and I watched him in the A-Day games. That's a good play. He's going to play. He's a good pickup right there.
And of course, hey, that means good food at Troy.
I can't wait to see this Charles Strong at running back, the A&M, Texas A&M transfer. He's got 6'1", 235 pounds. When's the last time Troy had a running back that big?
I know it. Troy looks real good at running back too, and of course, I think the depth is better.
We could go over the whole roster one day if you want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I missed that. Thank you on the. I did know that the Baumhauer kid was not on Alabama's linebacker depth chart, and that kind of surprised me. And so I wonder. I guess he'll have to sit out a year, won't he, or will he be able to play right away?
I don't know
how that will work. I don't know if he'll be granted a waiver to play immediately. I don't know how that will work. You would hope if he was a walk-on in Alabama that if you're a walk-on, you don't have to sit out a year. I would hope, but I don't know how that works. That's a good question.
So it's a
local kid on the roster, number 59, Max Copeland.
Oh yeah,
6'2", 200-pound linebacker. Redshirt freshman from Troy, Alabama, played at Pine Liberal Arts.
That's right, and he's
who is
really
dad?
working hard. That's Chad worked for he's a county commissioner, and he works here at Troy. Not Todd. Chad.
It's the younger one.
Yeah, and he played at Pike Liberal Arts, and he plays at Troy now. And I told him the other day, I said, man, just keep at it. You've played college football, and not many people can say that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Lee Hussey's son, Tyler Hussey, still on the roster as well.
That's right. He's a snapper.
I think a junior now.
Yeah, he does a real good job of snapping. In fact, he's close to starting at that position. He's done a real good job. He also played at Pike Liberal Arts, I would think.
Yeah, he's they got him a wide receiver, 6'1", 191. From Troy, Alabama, another Pine Liberal Arts guy. So Troy's got 2 walk-ons from Pine Liberal Arts on their roster.
Exactly right. And right now, you look at the roster at Pike Liberal Arts, and they've got a huge game coming up this weekend against Crenshaw Christian. Boy, what a game that'll be. It'll be played right here in Troy out at Pike Liberal Arts School, and everybody will get a chance to see all of the new players that have been rolled at Pike Liberal Arts this fall. And Mike, 3 or 4 of them, and I'm saying this, 3 or 4 of them are Division 1A prospects.
Oh my gosh!
Well, I mean, I guess they were that at Charles Henderson.
See, the Geis kid, how good was the Geis kid? The Geis kid weighs right at 300 pounds, and he's a big-time player. And, of course, they've got the kid.
Coach Grant will have Crenshaw ready. He did a terrific job last year, lost in the state championship game, and he beat Pine Liberal Arts last year. So I'm sure he's going to have a lot of new players as well.
Well, you've got 2 big games in Troy this weekend. One of them is at Pike Liberal Arts School with Crenshaw Christian coming to town, and what should be a huge football game. And then over at Charles Henderson, the game's been played at Veterans Memorial Stadium. 7 o'clock kickoff is Charles Henderson of Troy playing host to Montgomery Catholic. Montgomery Catholic might coming off one of their best seasons in their history. So we got 2 big games right here in Troy.
All right. Fantastic.
Who blew out Montgomery Catholic? They got blown out by somebody the first week.
They got
Pike Road.
Pike Road, and they scored a bunch of points, but so did Pike Road. And, of course, you know a lot about Pike Road.
No, really. I mean, I followed them when they started their school, which only went through 8th grade when I lived up there. And then they started a sports program, and then I don't even know where they practice. But yeah, but now it goes all the way through 12th grade, and there's a ton of people in Pike Road. I rode through Pike Road the other day going to Costco.
Yeah.
And I had some bonus points, so they give you a voucher on your credit card, and you get. So I had $146 free money. I had to spend it.
Did you really?
Yeah. So
$143?
yeah. So I went to.
Man, I'd go to Costco too.
I went to Costco and got $220 of stuff and spent $80 to get it. But I rode through Pike Road, and I said, I'm going to ride through my old neighborhood. And gosh,
and how about that new playing field?
Well,
Isn't that pretty?
Well, there's just houses everywhere, and the building in Pike Road has. I was moved in there, one of the early people, but it's unbelievable how many people are moving to Pike Road.
The guy.
So in other words, they ought to have a lot of athletes.
They're probably going to have about 20 baseball players from Montgomery leave and go to Pike Road to play for Ponder.
Yeah, Ponder is now the new head baseball coach at Pike Road.
Well, look for them to be a power in a hurry.
The guy that has built Pike Road to where it stands today is a good friend of mine. And, you know, if you look at him, you would say, no way in the world this guy played college football. Well, let's just say this. He was the backup at Auburn to Bo Jackson.
Gordon Stone?
Yeah, Gordon Stone, who's a good friend of mine. Of course, he's from Pineapple, Alabama, originally. And but he's the guy. If you want to put your finger on the growth of Pike Road, you would have to put it on his name because he has really, really done a great job. Of course, he's with the Department of. I mean, he's a lobbyist with the
Commission of Higher Education.
Yeah, Commission on Higher Education, and he's done a super job with that. But no town anywhere, I would think, is any faster growing right now than Pike Road, Alabama.
I agree too. Yeah.
And of course, they've got a.
Troy's growing pretty fast too, isn't it?
What?
They always claim that Troy is growing really fast.
Well, it was. I don't know about what's happening right now. I tell you what I would love to have today, and of course this is election day, and make sure to go to the polls. But I would like to see a count on how many students are here at Troy, how many enrolled at Troy.
I would too.
Because I don't believe our attendance is up to where we would like for it to be, especially with our international students. What do you think there?
I think that's great. We need the messenger or somebody to tell us, or maybe it's too soon.
It'd be a good article to find out.
Yeah, I think it takes a while, but soon they ought to know what your on-campus enrollment is, and then how many of these international Chinese students are on campus now compared to last year. That would be.
And we had, I don't know what the numbers were, but a lot of Chinese students, and like you said, some of them did not go back home, and some of them did, and I don't know how that works right now. I'm not going to get deeply involved.
I heard one time that there were 700 approximately Chinese students here.
That's a lot of them. Gosh.
That's probably in the ballpark, maybe a little high.
Hopefully we'll find out more information about that. Of course, football season, we're trying to get this football season in. Alabama and Auburn kick off on Saturday week. Is that right?
No,
forever. 26th of September.
Oh, gosh, wait a minute.
How about another month?
These players are going to get so tired of practicing at Alabama and Auburn.
Yeah. Troy kicks off.
They're teeing it up, man.
That's right. A week from Saturday, Troy plays.
If you want to go to Crampton Bowl, of course, the legendary Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama, this game will be on ESPN Saturday, August 29th, so that's this weekend. Austin Peay against Central Arkansas on live.
Let's go, P. Let's go, P.
Live on ESPN at 8 o'clock, so that will be live college football to watch Saturday night at 8 o'clock, thanks to Johnny Williams.
And it's a night game, so it won't be as hot. I would go if I lived in Montgomery.
I was not being facetious, ladies and gentlemen. Their nickname, is Austin Peay out of Tennessee, and going up against, what's this team out of?
Central Arkansas.
Central Arkansas, the Bulls.
Yeah, Central Arkansas is where Campbell used to coach. He did a good job there.
Yeah. So that'll be the first college football game of the year put on by my good friend Johnny Williams with this Montgomery. He's the executive director of the Camellia Bowl, which is in Montgomery every year. But also he is a member of the executive branch of the Montgomery Athletic Association. Montgomery Greater, what is it, River?
Yeah. Sports Commission or something.
Yeah, Sports Commission, and he's brought this game to Montgomery, and they're touting this game as the first college game of the year, and against Austin P and
that's two 1AA programs that play good ball.
That's right. And if you want to go to a good college football game, go to Montgomery this weekend and sit 6 feet apart.
Is it right?
Austin P won 11 games last year, but unfortunately Mark Husband, their coach, resigned right before the season started. So I don't know how they'll be losing their head coach. Of course, Husband won several games in North Alabama and won, I think, 9 games 4 straight times in Louisiana Lafayette. Of course, he put Louisiana Lafayette on probation as well.
Why did he resign right before the season? Do we know?
There's some off-the-field stuff going on, apparently. We can't really get into on the show, but he decided it was the best thing to do was to step down and spend more time with his family.
You know, if you'll think about it, a month and a half, nobody was doing anything. I mean, these coaches were not even allowed to go to their offices. I mean, they went a month and a half to 2 months doing nothing. I mean, if they wanted to play golf, I mean, of course, they'd be taking risks, but if they wanted to play golf every day, they could, you know, or go fishing.
We took the kids on some of our excursions, you know, the Pike County Lake, and then the stroll through the campus, and a lot of times we went over by the athletic department, athletic fields, and you're right, there was nobody was there.
That's right. And that was what they were told to do.
It's interesting to me when you start the season. You know, normally you deal with a lot of teams having cramps and their conditioning is an issue, and you have heat breaks and heat timeouts. I would think these guys are going to be in the best shapes of their lives starting seasons. They've had so much more time to get ready.
Oh yeah, you're exactly right.
And all these early super hot games, maybe we won't have so many of them. You remember, was it last year there were some games that, man, it was just so hot.
Well, let me just tell you this. I pass by the practice field every day, and of course when the parking place on the at the athletic building is all the way past the fire department on George Wallace Drive. That means they've got full practice. They're getting ready, and they're going to go out and have full practice. Well, this morning I drove by there at 6:30, and it was half full. That meant either the defense or the offense was working out with weights. I don't know which one.
Oh, they split it up
at 6:30 this morning. Mm-hmm. Now, what they're told, and I'm sure that was part of it, that the offense would go ahead and work out today, and then of course the defense.
Well, that makes sense. You don't keep them around each other.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And again, you know, these guys are working hard, getting ready for. Hey, listen now. Let me make something perfectly clear. Today is the 25th of August. The Saturday will be what date, real quick? And a week from Saturday, and a week.
Sunday's the 31st, I believe.
So 30th.
All right.
Monday's the 31st.
Well, let me tell you this. A week from Saturday at 6:15 is the Trojans of Troy University going against Louisiana Monroe from Veterans Stadium in Troy, Alabama. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're counting down again to that game. Mike, what is the countdown?
This Saturday will be the 29th, so they'll play on the 5th. So
let's run the table, man.
Saturday.
Well, let me tell you,
let's upset BYU and then beat everybody in this conference.
Yeah.
And have a 12-0 season. How about that?
Well, I tell you what, it'll be a very good football game.
Coming off 5-7, I would gladly jump up and down and take 7-5.
I know it, but we're going for 12-0.
I'd love to do this right now. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and predict.
We hadn't picked what we think Troy's record is going to be.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. It'll be a lot of fun. You got the record looking forward to you. All right, starting off with on September the 5th, you've got Louisiana Monroe.
Win.
I think we win this, but it's not going to be a tough football game.
Of course, yeah.
I'm going to say win.
They are going to be tough.
Go ahead, Mike.
They have 9 guys out, and you know, due to the coronavirus, and they're in quarantine. I like Troy's chances, but I imagine these 9 guys will be back. Monroe has played Troy tough over the years. I think Troy wins the game. I think the comfort of being at home and Monroe having to travel, I like Troy in that first game.
Okay. All right, now we are open on the 12th, and then on the 19th, Mike, who do we play?
You travel to Murfreesboro to play the great
Middle Tennessee
State.
Boy, that's going to be a tough one right there, a real tough one. But I like Troy. I'm going to take Troy.
Last 12 games, Troy's 8-4 against Middle Tennessee State.
All right, who do y'all like? Who do you like here, Rice?
With all these receivers y'all keep telling me about and these great running backs we haven't even talked about, Troy.
Okay, how about you, Mike, on this one? Well, it's going to be a tough environment in Murfreesboro, Tennessee on the 19th.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough trip. Middle Tennessee, I want to say they only won 5 games last year. I want to say that they struggled last year, but I'll have to look and see. But I think this is going to be a tough road trip. And I don't like Troy going in there. Stockstill's been there for a long time. Tony Franklin's been.
All right, here we go, the Big L.
So I'll take Middle.
Okay. Now we're looking at the 26th day of September. This is when the SEC starts their schedule. But this is Troy on September 26th. Mike, is this open or is this a game day?
This is at BYU.
Against your friend, the athletic director. You'll probably go, won't you?
Well, I'm looking at it.
We're pretty sure it's the reason Troy got this game due to his relationship with the athletic director.
Well, it could have helped some. You know, we never can tell. But this is a big game, and anybody that doesn't recognize BYU as being a big-time operation, they don't know football. This is a.
Well, I mean, they just won at Tennessee last year and beat USC at home last year and played in the Hawaii Bowl. So I mean, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I promise you. And of course, this game's going to be live on ESPN and hopefully, Mike, it's going to be a late night game.
Yeah, it'll be the only game on.
Whether you can go to the game or not, it's going to be a great.
Trying to put this on TV later at night.
Yeah. BYU, I'm going to have to go. I hate to say this. I don't know. I like Troy a lot, but BYU, I'm afraid, is just too much. I'm going to put my first L on the board.
Troy will be up for this game. This will be this is the game that replaces the North Carolina State game. This is the game that replaces the Tennessee game. Troy was not happy with how they played against Missouri last year. It's gonna be on TV.
That's right.
3-0.
3-0. Rice goes 3-0. Rice.
I imagine Troy's going to have some issues. Well, this is a long travel to go to Provo, and they're going to have altitude issues.
Yeah, you're right.
It's hard for these guys to breathe out there. It's almost a mile high. I want to take BYU.
But we're also
so far. I got Troy 1 and 2 so far.
But also, Troy's going to be in better shape because of working out in this Alabama heat and humidity. It's going to feel so cool to them out there.
Yeah, it really will. Okay, all right. So we're. I'm also.
And after that, you've got a huge rivalry game. Of course, Troy will make the trip to play South Alabama. Of course. South Alabama's really struggled under Campbell, but they got a new stadium, a lot of excitement. But I just think Troy still has more athletes, so I'll take Troy to beat South Alabama.
Whoa, I tell you, that's going to be a good one, and I like Troy in this one too. But what I don't like, they're going to be controlling the how many people go to the game. Right now they're not going to allow tailgating. The atmosphere is just going to be completely taken away from this game.
That helps Troy, right?
Let me tell you this. This would be a big, big victory in the coach's career, Mike. And it could have a lot to do whether or not he'll continue to be the coach at South Alabama. So
I mean, you don't even know if they're going to even issue tickets to a big game. So you don't even know if Troy fans can even go to this game.
And usually the band would be. They would let the band go, and instead of a 40,000 seat stadium, they're playing in a 25,000 seat stadium now, a brand new stadium.
I bet normally under normal circumstances, don't you think that 3,000, 4,000 Troy fans would have gone to that game?
That's right.
Oh, at least, yeah. You were there several years ago, Dad? Well, not several years, about 4 or 5 years ago, when they were in the end zone, and Troy had the whole end zone filled, didn't they?
That's right. They sure did.
How many buses did Troy take down there? Like 14 or 15 or something?
That's exactly right. It's probably the most buses ever taken to a regular season game ever. I'm going to say Troy's going to win this one, but this would be a signature win for the head coach who played on the national championship team here at Troy.
Kenny Edenfield, who's a friend of ours, is on that staff, is offensive coordinator. Haystack Stewart, who played at Troy,
played on
defensive
national
coordinator. I
championship.
mean, it's a big Troy feel.
And they love Troy, but of course the tradition now is to try to win at South Alabama.
What do you think, Rice? Do you think that beats South Alabama?
You know, I picked the huge upset, so they'll probably be flat after this game. But it's a rival game.
It's going to be a huge game.
Troy should have better talent coming back than South Alabama. The home field advantage shouldn't be that big with this year. So Troy again. Troy's now 4-0. Everybody, and Troy's starting. The people are starting to say, Troy top 25 by week 4 after beating BYU, maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we talk about recruiting and so forth and where are the best places to go to get football players. Mobile, Northwest Florida, Southwest Mississippi is as good a football area to recruit in as any area in these United States of America. So, buddy, don't you think South Alabama won't be loaded with talent? And now they got to have a coach that can put them in the right offense. This is going to be a heck of a football game.
If you just got the talent out of Mobile alone.
You're exactly right. You look at it in Northwest Florida, and you look at South Alabama too. You know, the Dothan area across, and then the central Mississippi. Let me tell you, South Alabama now with their own stadium. Look out for them in the future. They're going to be good. They're going to be real good.
Chip Lindsey needs to build a gate around Dothan. There never should be Dothan players going to South Alabama, so Troy.
Or you follow players, you know, I remember for years and years, Rice, you remember this, how you used to send players to southern Mississippi right through Troy, and we never got them, but now, thank goodness.
How many players from Charles Henderson went there? At least 3 or 4. Micah Brown, Terrell Paul.
Y'all remember that big lineman that played 4 years over there? They had a big lineman that played from Charles Henderson.
Paul was all conference players.
That's right.
Micah Brown.
Yeah.
You had the linebacker. You had a couple of, at least 4 kids from Charles Henderson went to Southern Miss.
All right, everybody's taking Troy to beat South Alabama, but it's going to be a tough one. All right, on the
they're all going to be tough.
All right, Mike.
Quick turnaround on Thursday night. You'll play Texas State in Troy. Of course, Texas State is.
What's the date on that, Mike? What's the date on the Texas State game in Troy?
That's October 8th on a Thursday night. This game has already been picked up by ESPNU, so this game will be on national TV.
And that's in Troy.
Troy put 60 on them last year. I like Troy to win this game.
Okay, I like Troy to win it too. Even though that's going to be a good program with the right coach. Let me just say this about that school, Mike. They have 35,000 students on campus.
Oh, that's bigger than Alabama.
It is bigger than Alabama and Auburn.
Spavinar has been at West Virginia as offensive coordinator, been at Texas A&M as offensive coordinator, been at Cal as offensive coordinator, so he's got a good offensive mind. Then you have a little break. Troy doesn't come back to play at Veterans Stadium until October 17th against Eastern Kentucky at one AA school, so I think Troy will beat Eastern Kentucky.
All right, I'm going to go win. Against a good, solid program now, no question about it.
I'd take Troy.
Yeah, they're the Colonels. They're in the OBC. Then Troy will be home the next weekend as well for homecoming against Georgia State on October 24th.
That's on the 24th.
Don't we need some revenge against Georgia State?
Yeah, I tell you what. In that game last year, Mike, you heard me say this. That was the best. That was the fastest offense. And I've seen a lot of college football in my day, and I don't think I have to make any excuses for it. They were as fast as any team I've ever seen, Mike, last year at Georgia State.
Well, you know, they beat Tennessee in Knoxville to open the season, so Georgia State had a good year. They went to the bowl.
Yeah, but boy, they were fast. You remember how fast they were, and we just couldn't stop them. We could not stop them. They couldn't stop us. They couldn't stop us either.
Happy I didn't go.
Do you know something, Mike?
They put 50 points on Troy last year.
And I want to tell you something. We almost had the finest quarterback in the country if he hadn't got hurt. Last year, Mike, playing his senior year, Troy's quarterback who got hurt his knee. You remember that?
You talking about Caleb Barker?
Caleb Barker. Listen to this. He threw for 3,500 yards last year at Troy. That's one of the top figures ever in the history of Troy football. That kid could run like a deer until he hurt his knee. If he hadn't hurt his knee, he would have broke almost all the passing records at Troy. What do you think, Mike? And rushing.
And running, yeah.
Well, I mean, Silvers put up a lot of huge numbers because he started for 4 years. So, and then you had the legendary Corey Robinson. I mean, I wouldn't put Barker. I mean, I would say Robinson's a better passer. Silvers in certain games. I mean, Silvers was really inconsistent, but I mean, yeah, if he wouldn't have blown out his knee, he would have had a chance to play at the next level. I mean, he was that good of an athlete, but
he could fly. Now I'm telling you,
he was never the same last year running. He always would just basically just go down.
But again though, people just sort of forget what a great year he had and what he did for Troy when he was well. It was unreal.
Yeah, the offense.
Well, I mean, he was great last year. He just didn't play great in the big games. Troy got blown out in all the big games they played last year.
This Georgia State game, and they're going to get better. They've got a great facility at Georgia State. Do you know where they play the game?
Yeah,
the old
Fulton County Stadium.
It's old. No, that was
Turner Field.
Turner Field. They
Yeah.
play their games at Turner Field. In fact, they bought Turner Field. Georgia State did. So every time a recruit comes in there, they want to see where home runs were hit and all that.
I need to go over there because I was there for the Olympics in '96. I worked for the Olympics. I worked for Champions and Hanes Sporting Goods over there for a month.
Mike, let's tell a quick story.
I was there for Centennial Park and the Olympic Stadium. I went there when the Olympic Stadium was there, and then, of course, I went there to several Braves games at Turner Field, so I need to go where it's a football stadium.
Let me ask you this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear this little story. He worked over there. Mike, how far were you away from being right in the middle of that bumming over there?
Oh, I mean, I was listening to that band literally like an hour before the explosion. We had been there all day partying at Centennial Park, and Rudolph, of course, came in and dropped off the bag that had the explosives in it, and luckily I had left. But we were actually listening to the band that actually you see on television when all that happened.
And it happened, like you said, right there. And did the entire bomb go off, or was some of it did not explode?
I think it all went off. All the strap metal and everything that was in it. It was a bunch of nails and all kinds of other stuff. I mean, I don't remember, Bill. I mean, how many people died that night? A couple, and then there were several injured.
Yeah.
I think it's just one or two that died.
And of course,
and one guy died from a heart attack. I think when it all happened, but that was crazy.
And then he went up into the mountains, and they couldn't find him for years. They
couldn't find him for years. He was up there around Murphy.
I mean, how in the world? And I would think that would be the biggest hunt in the Georgia history of trying to find somebody.
He was literally in the Blue Ridge Mountains. That's
they didn't know who it was for a while. They had to do some.
He bombed the abortion clinic in Birmingham and Highlands. I lived in Birmingham for years. I used to rob out that area all the time and lived there for several years. So, that's crazy.
Yeah, I hate to bring that up, but I just wanted people to know how close my own son was. I know this, that I was going across the bridge.
Y'all must have been scared because the next day y'all drove to Atlanta and went to see me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a similar story. Bobby was, my little brother was working in outside Washington, D.C. on 911. He's working for Gannett that owns USA Today. And there, Gannett has some big, tall buildings that look over Washington, D.C. You can't have big, tall buildings in Washington, D.C., but right outside Washington, D.C. and, Maryland or Virginia, you can. And when the plane hit the Pentagon, Bobby heard it and turned around and saw the big explosion.
He saw that firsthand.
Well, he didn't see it immediately. He didn't see it when it happened, but he heard it, and everybody said, "What was that?" And then he turned around and he saw the big thunderball, and he thought the Pentagon had been bombed by somebody, and he called my mother and said, "Mom, I'm okay." And Mom said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I'm okay. There was a big explosion, in Washington D.C., probably at the Pentagon. It hadn't even hit the news yet."
And then when it first happened, a lot of people just think a jet went the wrong way or whatever. It was just
not when it hit the Pentagon, you knew it was serious.
Yeah, but at first though, they just thought it might be an aircraft, crashing into a building.
That's what I thought. Like everybody else said, at the World Trade Center first tower.
And of course, that was
You hear so many crazy stories about that still. Like, you always hear rumors that some of the guys were living in Troy and were training at Fort Rucker to be pilots. I've always heard all kinds of crazy stories about that over the years. I don't know if any of it was ever true or not.
Yeah.
Some of the terrorists, though, that were flying the planes, I don't know if that was at Fort Rucker or somewhere else, though, where they learned.
You know, one bad thing, ironic thing about it too, was that they were training to fly a plane, but they weren't trained to land a plane.
No, they need to learn how to land.
And I mean, once again, they didn't even work. I mean, how in the world could you not catch on to that? You know. Okay, let's get back into.
What about Georgia State at home for homecoming?
All right, I say we're gonna win that. We'll win that.
Revenge is a great motivator.
All right.
I'll say Troy wins that as well. Then you go on the road, tough game to play Arkansas State in Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Boy, they are always
close game last year to Lane Hatcher, the Alabama transfer, and I don't like Troy's matchup with Arkansas State. I'll take Arkansas State.
This will be on national TV, I'm sure. What's the date on that? October 1st?
Halloween, October 31st.
31st, excuse me. Halloween night, playing at Arkansas State. I think year in and year out, and of course, you've got to look at Appalachian, you've got to look at Louisiana Lafayette, that Arkansas State has the most solid program, I think, of any team in the Sun Belt.
Well, Troy remembers that game. They could have won that game. They could have won the Southern Miss game, and it bothers them. And so Troy's going to get some payback this year.
It's going to be hard to go to Arkansas State.
Bill Rice still have Troy undefeated?
Well, I'm going 12-0. Which one of these games can't Troy win?
I would think that the two quarters.
Any of them, I guess. The only game I don't think they can win is BYU. I think BYU would have too much talent.
Exactly.
On the right day, they can beat BYU.
And Arkansas State might have the two best quarterbacks in the country on the same team.
That's right, because Lane Hatcher replaced somebody else.
Exactly, and of course he was a transfer from Alabama. I'm going to say they're going to lose that Arkansas State. The rest of y'all going to say they're going to win or lose?
No, I got them losing.
Mike had them losing. How about you?
We need to beat Arkansas State. That's a big
right, you going to put a W by there then?
Yeah.
Okay. It will be on the road, a tough place to play, Statesboro, Georgia, Polson Stadium, Georgia Southern on November the 7th. Troy has won 3 in a row. And I like the way Troy matches up against Georgia Southern for some reason. I'll take Troy one more time against Georgia Southern.
Maybe it's the speed on defense because, of course, they run the wishbone or run the option. And Troy has been very, very good against Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern's going to have a good team. They've got that quarterback that's coming back that a couple of years ago was caught with some bad drugs.
A couple years ago. That was last year. He basically... was arrested for cocaine possession, and then it turned out it was bird poop. So
bird poop. All right, who do y'all like here? I like Troy because they've been winning over there.
Here's why I like it, because it's big rivalry game again.
Big win.
But under my scenario, Troy is got momentum. They're getting a lot of buzz. By this time, they're definitely ranked in the top 25. There's going to be too much at stake for them to have a letdown, so they're going to beat Georgia Southern. But now it's going to be super tough, but they're going to pull it out.
Boy, that blue jersey with white trousers, they're pretty good, Mike.
It looks like Alabama's jersey, except in blue.
That's right.
Of course, after that, you got Coastal.
Who do you like there, Mike? Who do you like in the Georgia Southern game?
I told you I like the way Troy matches up against them. They've won 3 in a row. I like them against Georgia Southern.
All right, I do too.
And Coastal Carolina comes to Troy. This is a huge revenge game. It cost Troy bowl eligibility last year. They lost in overtime to Coastal Carolina. I like Troy to get their revenge and win that game on November 14th.
I do too. And even though Coastal Carolina is going to be better than they've ever been, Mike.
Yeah.
Well, they definitely have gotten a lot more talented since they've made the jump from 1AA. They were never a powerhouse like Appalachian State and Georgia Southern, so it's going to take some time. After that, you got November 21st. You got Middle Tennessee returning the favor.
Wait a minute now. Let me check on this here. They play Coastal Carolina on the 17th, and they play.
No. They play Coastal on the 14th.
14th. Okay, my bad. Wait a minute.
Saturday the 14th.
Coastal Carolina, Saturday the 14th. How many days is that from the Georgia Southern game?
Just 7. They play Georgia Southern on the 7th.
Okay, I got you.
Coastal on the 14th.
Okay.
I'd say Troy.
Then you have another home game. Coastal was at home. Now you have another home game. Middle Tennessee comes back to play Troy in Troy. I have them Troy losing at Murfreesboro, but I think Troy will find a way to come together and learn from their mistakes from their first loss to Middle and beat Middle at Troy.
And that's on November the 21st. Is that right?
That's right.
That'll be interesting to play one team twice, like the
You're going to play September the 19th, and you're going to turn around and play November the 21st, 2 months later.
Okay. All right. The final game of the season.
No, that's not the final game of the season. So do y'all have Troy beating Middle Tennessee?
Yeah, I got them beating Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, they're not going to flip up after
This
they're
is
undefeated.
to be for the Sun Belt, not championship, but for seeding. Maybe as far as the best records in the league. Appalachian State, I think, will probably go 10-2, probably. So Troy's got to go to Appalachian State on November 28th to play in Boone.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to win, man.
Stadium. Elevation won't be an issue because you had already played at BYU. But Appalachian State's got the most talent in the Sun Belt. I'm going to take Appalachian State to beat Troy at Appalachian State. But, the crazy thing about this game is the Sun Belt doesn't have a neutral site championship game, so the team with the best record in the league gets to host the championship game. So there's a chance Troy could have to turn around and go right back to Boone, North Carolina the next weekend and play.
Yeah. All right, I've got Troy losing to Appalachian State, Mike. Who do y'all like?
I think we owe Appalachian State, buddy.
All right, what's the date on that, Mike? Appalachian State.
It's November 28th.
Okay, so
they will get Troy's best game, and so that's a win for Troy.
It's going to just be extremely
a really
hard.
good quarterback coming back. He's actually from Hewitt-Trussville. I got Troy looking at their record. I've got them going 8-4, which is better than I said I thought they'd go. I said I thought they'd be 7-5, but I can see 7-5, 8-4. But Bill Rice has them going what, 12-0?
12-0, top 20. There's nobody on this schedule we can't beat. And once you get the momentum and start winning, there's going to be a buzz in town, the excitement. All these skilled players, the players will rise to the occasion. Now, y'all know, I mean, this is wearing cardinal color glasses, but it could happen.
I've got Troy going.
Chip Lindsey watches the show. He's got to be happy about the 12-0 from Bill Rice, 9-3 from Mike Amos.
That's right.
8-4 from Michael Amos.
8-4. Now, the
Of course, I came on the show last year and flat out said at worst Troy would be 8-4.
Yeah.
At worst, I said that. They finished 5-7. So
right.
I don't.
That loss to Coastal Carolina took everything away from Troy. They took the playoffs away from them. From the bowl game away from them. So that one game they lost on the last play of the game turned out to be the worst loss of the season.
The last 2 games they lost by over 40 points. I think they got beat 50-3 by Lafayette and like 50-10 from Appalachian State.
So Troy does not play Lafayette though, right?
Yeah, thank goodness.
That might be the one team that I would pick Troy to lose to. So yeah.
That's having
that would be pretty interesting if Troy could find a way to win these first 2 games. Of course, Law Monroe at home and Middle Tennessee going into that BYU game. I think BYU opens up against a really good team. I think they open up against Navy.
Yeah. I can give you that information quickly here. Want to mention also, BYU is an independent.
BYU opens up against Navy. After that, before Troy, they will play Army at Army. So they'll play the 2 of the academy
2 option teams. Yeah,
that's right. So when they see the passing offense of Troy, where you can run and pass, that'll be different for them.
Yeah. And, Mike, I was looking at it, and, of course, the Middle Tennessee game could go either way. I've got them winning both games in Middle Tennessee, but that could go either way. But you look at BYU, Arkansas State, and Appalachian State, that's losing to 3 very good football teams right there.
Yeah. Those are.
So I'd say they go.
That would not be a bad.
They'll
season.
either go 9-3 or 8-4. Just a lot of it will be determined about how well they'll play against Middle Tennessee.
Win that first game. Middle Tennessee State's a rivalry. We got a lot of rivalry games going,
exactly,
Mike. I mean,
exactly.
I'd call Middle Tennessee State a rivalry game. Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
South Alabama.
Yeah, oh yeah. Rivalry,
Georgia Southern game.
Yes, rivalry, all of them. Yeah.
Appalachian State. That's become a big one.
I don't care what anybody says. Of course, these teams go up against SEC teams, and most of the time they lose. But the Sun Belt really does not have a bad football team in it at all. I mean, it's going to be a real competitive, conference run, and then the four other teams they play. Again, I congratulate Brent Jones, the athletic director at Troy, for putting together this wonderful schedule that has 6 home games.
And a name team in BYU.
And a name team.
And 12 games.
That's right, and 12 games. So we're very, very fortunate.
BYU is struggling to find teams to play. I don't know if y'all realize it, but they're going to open on September the 7th, which is on Monday night on ESPN against Navy. And then they'll turn around and play Army on the 19th, and they got Troy on the 26th. They got Houston on October the 16th, so they go about 3 weeks before they even have another game. And then Western Kentucky on the 31st, and they finish the season right now in North Alabama. So they're having a hard time finding teams to fill a schedule this year.
They've only got 6 games so far?
Yeah, that's all I see right now.
How many games?
I'm only seeing 6 right now.
Oh, now that's got to be something's got to give there.
Yeah, they're an independent. They're not in the conference.
Yeah, I know that. But
teams don't want to travel. I don't know why you couldn't charter a plane, and if all your kids are not positive, put them on a plane.
Well, we know this.
Fly.
They'll play Troy's way out there. They'll play North Alabama's way out there.
This is on BYU's website too.
Right now, it says they just have 6 games. You know what? If they can't get more games than this, they might not have football.
Yeah, that's
weird. They were supposed to play Utah State. It got postponed. They were supposed to play Northern Illinois. It got postponed. They were supposed to play some other big boys. They got Boise State got postponed.
How about Arizona State?
They were supposed to play a lot of teams out of the Mountain West. San Diego State got postponed.
So the Mountain West is not playing football this year?
That's correct. The Mountain West is not playing. The MAC's not playing. Pac-12's not playing, and the Big Ten's not playing.
Conference USA, and what's that other conference that SMU's in?
American Athletic Conference, where Richard McBride from Charles Henderson plays for SMU.
They're playing.
Conference USA, Sun Belt, SEC,
6.
Big 12, ACC are all playing.
All right.
Of course, our show is brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass right here in Troy. And, of course, Jason Gregory, they're dealing like nobody else is dealing. Remember, nobody beats a Premier price deal. Nobody.
So you add it up, that's 6 conferences with about 12 teams per conference, plus a couple of independents. That's about 75 teams of the 130 are playing.
Yeah,
that's what it is. I think the only team out of Conference USA that's not playing is Old Dominion, so they were not going to play.
Yeah, and then of course, you're right. BYU's got some work to do to get their schedule up, or they might not even play.
If Alabama has 1 loss and Clemson has 1 loss and Ohio State doesn't play, do they win the national championship and don't play a season?
No.
You know what I want to say?
They're not going to make the jump from number 2 in the AP poll?
The most impressive record Alabama has is this consecutive years being ranked number 1. I think it's 12 years in a row, which I don't think is a record that'll never be beat. But Alabama needs to get that 1 more year if they can, and they got a chance. They're sitting at number 2, with Ohio State not playing. So Alabama gets a big win over one of these early season opponents, and then Clemson looks kind of bad in 1 game. Alabama could move up to number 1 again, which would be 13 seasons in a row where Alabama was ranked number 1 at some point.
The game, all you got to do is win. Of course, it's a tough game to win, but if you beat Georgia at home, I think you go to number 1.
Yeah, so, that would be something to you know, put a feather in your hat to say that you were number one for 13 seasons in a row.
What if you're sitting like at Alabama? All right, you said first home game's what, the 26th?
Yeah.
All right, the 26th.
That's not a home game. They're playing at Missouri on the 26th.
Okay, 26 playing Missouri.
Alabama won't play a home game until October.
All right, you look at them, and how many days is it now? Let's see.
You got a month before the season. The season starts on the 26th.
Don't you know those guys are getting sick of football like you've never been in your life?
Yeah. And then they can't even go see their girlfriend. You know, they got to stay isolated.
This is miserable. This is miserable. Another right at 30 days left to play football at Alabama.
I mean, Alabama's got 3 guys that could be in the top 10 picks. I mean, I don't know how in the world they decide to play. You got Patrick Surtain is number 2 on the draft boards, second pick. Devontae Smith's number 9, I think, and Waddle's number 10. So those guys are going to play, they said.
You know, you would at least...
Najee Harris, you got the offensive linemen or two.
You Leatherwood. Alabama's probably got 6 guys in the first round.
Possibly. That's amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great day. We've had a good talk, but I want to remind you one more time to go to the polls, and I'm going to give you the polls right here. And, of course, we want to make sure that everybody goes out and does their civic duty. For mayor of the city of Troy, you have Tyrone Moultrie going up against the incumbent Jason Reeves. In District 1, has Robert Jones and going up against Sharon McSwain Holland. That's for the city council member. District 4, Stephanie Baker, the incumbent, going up against Caleb Dawson. And that box is the First Baptist Church. For mayor of the city of Brundage, a big election here, Isabel Franny Boyd, the incumbent, going up against these people, Anthony T. Foster, Mike McNally, former Brundage Mayor Jimmy Ramage, and Rodney Wilson. And then in District Council 1, Lynette Andrews, Betty Baxter, Gerald Holland, and Johnny Turbin. In District 2, the Council of the City of Brundage, Charlie Bell, Jessica Collier, Stacy Flournoy, Alexandria M. Griffin, and Letitia Hall. In District 3, Brundage City Council, Henry Hancock, Everett, Angie Kelly, Margaret E. Ross, in District 3. In District 4, Brundage City Council, Byron Gaynor going up against Paula Wilson Hall. And then finally in District 5, Brundage City Council, Christopher Foster going up against James Sid Jones and Marilyn Munchie Rogers. And that is your, we encourage everybody to go to vote. Of course, this is going to be a very good test of how important these elections are to our communities. So we need a big turnout and show people that we're very concerned about who runs our government. I hope you have a great day. We'll give you all the information on who wins and who goes into the runoff. Of course, the runoff for the Brundage City election will be on October the 6th. We know pretty much the chances are that there could very well be a runoff. Hope you have a great day and go to the polls.
I gotta go back and do some writing.
Have you got some things going?
Oh yeah, I've got some good stories that I need to get back on. It was hard to do any writing, but Jack is at this stage where he's
moving around in it. Yeah.
He'll drive you crazy.
How old is he?
4 years old.
Oh man.
You hear about the terrible 2s, but they're not more terrible than the 4s. I mean, he's just gone stir crazy being in the house for all these months.
All right, listen, I might want you on that scoreboard show, which will be Friday. Friday on the scoreboard show.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll have you in it. And also, I'm gonna give.
He's the champion picker.